how do you feel about Peggy Sue?
I've never really been much for the country, you know, country people, country food, country music, country secretaries. I mean, just look at what she wears. She's so tacky.
This question is for Edwina. How did you come to work for Mr. Worthington?
Well, my sister and I used to go to school with Miss Deborah, and one day we followed her home, and we kind of just stayed. Like a pack of stray cats.
Why do you cover up for Miss Beatrice?
We all care for her so much, and she's always been so kind and supportive towards us, so we want her to stay as long as she can.
This is for Lauren. Did Jameson hire you to murder Edward?
Jameson hired me to gather information about Edward. His murder will definitely be told to him soon.
Do you hate Edward or love Edward?
Edward and I have had a complicated relationship, though Jameson is more in his place now.
To Mr. Hollister, do you think that you get treated fairly by the Worthingtons?
I would have liked a little more respect, but I am just a butler, so...
And the second question, does Edward Worthington trust you?
I would hope he trusted me, but you could never really know what he felt about someone.
This is to Miss Connie. How did you meet Roy?
That's a funny story, actually. We were at college. I wandered into his class.
And do you have any children?
No, we don't, but we do have an adorable little puppy.
This is for Tony. Where did you grow up?
Sin City, baby. Oh, yeah.
And how long have you mooshed off Edward and your sister Allegra?
For 2 years now.
This question's for Roy. Where did you go to college?
KCKCC, home of the Fighting Gophers.
Did you graduate from college?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you graduate from college?
What kind of a question is that? Of course I did.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Okay. So that's going to conclude our questions. So now let's get into the climax and find out who indeed murdered Edward Worthington III. House lights.
As we've learned, any of you could have killed Mr. Worthington, but only one of you did the deed. The question is, who?
Beatrice, what on earth are you doing? Getting rid of those black things. I don't like them. For heaven's sake, don't throw the olive slices onto the floor. I thought they were bugs.
Yeah, so did I.
Olive slices?
Black olives, Lieutenant McMillan. I put slices of them on some of the hors d'oeuvres.
I see. I gather, Miss Worthington, that you removed the black olives from the hors d'oeuvres before you ate them tonight?
Oh, yes, Lieutenant. I never eat them. They taste nasty.
I see. Did anyone else remove the black olives from the hors d'oeuvres before they ate them tonight?
I confess, I picked a pimento off of one and put it on the hors d'oeuvre next to it. Really, Lieutenant McMillan, surely playing with one's food hasn't become a crime. Shouldn't you concentrate on solving Edward's murder?
That's precisely what I'm doing, Mrs. Worthington. In fact, I now know who the murderer is. One of you girls said you wiped the cake knife with a dish towel before you brought it in here. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said no one else touched it until Mr. Worthington and then his wife?
That's right, but...
Then only one of you could have passed on the substance my lab chief found on the handle. Oil. Olive oil.
That's what you were searching the kitchen for.
Yes, but I was looking for bottled olive oil. You know, the one that you cook with.
I don't use it. I prefer Crisco.
So I noticed. It didn't occur to me to look for a jar of olives themselves. Clearly, they were the source that Miss Worthington had from her fingers to the murder weapon.
Huh?
Mrs. Worthington, will you come with me, please?
With you? I suppose so, Lieutenant. Where are we going?
To jail. I'm arresting you for the murder of your brother, Edward Worthington.
You think I killed Edward? Well, maybe I did. I don't remember very well. It was so confusing in the dark. Oh, Aunt Bee.
Put your hands behind your back.
Wait. Lieutenant McMillan. Miss Beatrice didn't kill anyone. She couldn't hurt a fly. I murdered the bastard.
Can you believe that? The butler did it! Good for you, Hollister. If you weren't going to the slammer, I'd give you a raise.
Please, ladies, this is no laughing matter.
Who's joking?
You better explain yourself.
Yes, ma'am. You see, I've grown very fond of Miss Beatrice over the years. The reason I never married is because I love her deeply, though I could never tell her, of course.
Oh, Hollister, that's so sweet.
I was terrified Mr. Worthington would send you away, as were you. When the lights went out and you stepped past me in the dark to go to the table.
And how did you know that?
I smelled her perfume. Primrose. And then I heard the knife clatter as she picked it up. I feared she had intended to use it to stab her brother. I couldn't let that happen. So I reached for her hand and took the knife from her.
And you stabbed the man yourself?
I hadn't intended to, but he fought back against me and the knife. They don't expect me to believe it was an accident, but...
Oh, Hollister, I wasn't going to kill Edward. He was my little Bubba. I just thought the knife was pretty. It had such a nice, shiny blade. So while no one could see, I was going to hide it. You know I like to hide away lovely things.
I understand, Miss Beatrice. Forgive me for misjudging you. It appears I've made an unfortunate mistake, ma'am. I need to do penance for the deed.
You've been a real gentleman, Hollister. Well, up until you killed yours, of course.
Thank you, Ina. I trust you and Miss Vickers and the girls will continue to look after Miss Beatrice. I fear I shall not be returning.
Don't you forget.
Hollister, let's go to the parlor. I need to give headquarters a call.
As you wish, ma'am.
The rest of you remain here. Since you all witnessed Hollister's confession, I'll need to take your statements later.
Oh, that dear, dear Matt. Don't worry, Auntie. We'll get a good lawyer to represent him.
A good lawyer? I'd like to know how you plan to pay for one. I appreciate Hollister for getting rid of the old ogre, but I don't intend to spend a fortune to defend him.
You're a cruel, greedy woman, Allegra.
And those are her better qualities.
Needless to say, you and your brat won't be getting any more handouts either. And as for Beatrice, I'm afraid Hollister's efforts were in vain. A rest home is where she belongs, and I intend to send her to one. The cheapest one I can find. Oh, my, you wouldn't.
I know, sis. Yes, you would. And so would I.
You're horrible! Oh, Miss Vickers, you were right. Tony's a terrible man! I figured you two would realize it sooner or later. I'm just glad it's sooner. While I'm cleaning house, Roy, I expect your resignation tomorrow. From what we've all learned tonight, your business methods leave a lot to be desired.
But I explained.
Allegra, Roy wouldn't. Oh, I don't blame you for what you did. I just don't want you doing it with my money. But it's not your money. And it never will be. What? Edward left a will. I'll give a formal reading for it later, but I'll tell you the gist of it now. He left everything to his daughter Deborah, with two provisions. First, should she marry, she will retain her maiden name, and should she have a son, she will name him Edward IV after him.
I don't have any problem with that.
He also stipulated that she is to provide for Beatrice's care for the rest of her life.
I would have done that gladly anyway. Gee, Mom, I guess Father really did care something about me.
What do you know? The old boy had a heart after all.
What about me? He owes me something
too. I gave him the best years of my life.
What he told me, that's not saying a lot.
Oh, shut up! Well, Lauren, what did Edward leave me?
Your Louis Vuitton luggage and as many other clothes you can pack into them. Period.
Luggage? You mean I killed the entire lot for nothing? Oh, I'm too hurt that I'm flattered as Beatrice picked it up and saw it glimmer faintly. I knew someone was behind the movement, but I wasn't sure that whoever held it had the guts to kill him. So I gave Edward a shove backwards. Yes, I helped skewer the man, and I'm glad I did it.
Huh. Very interesting. Hollister, seems I'm gonna have another use for these.
I'm happy to return them, ma'am.
Sis, don't say anything else.
Oh, that advice is too late, Mr. Blacklow. Apparently when Hollister said Mr. Worthington fell against none, he was telling the truth. He isn't the murderer, but the woman who pushed her husband onto the blade is. Allegra Worthington, I'm arresting you for the murder of your husband, Edward Worthington III.
Take me away. I don't care. Just take me out of this house.
Oh, it's a pleasure. My men are on their way in the squad car. We can wait for them out front.
Good riddance. I don't believe it. Somebody finally used the front door.
Hollister, you sweet man.
Why didn't you tell me how you felt ages ago?
It would have been the correct thing to do, Miss Beatrice.
Nibbles, we'll discuss this subject later. In private.
Yes, madame.
Hollister, perhaps it would help solve your problem if you were no longer on Facebook. I think it's time you retire with a very generous pension, and you're welcome to continue living in Worthington Manor as long as you may like.
Oh, Miss Deborah.
Miss Vickers, Ina, Edith, Edwina, you're a part of our family too, and you showed me more love than poor father was ever able to.
Deborah, about my job.
No one can deny that you've invested my father's money brilliantly, Roy. But I'm not sure if I approve of all of your methods. You may continue to act as financial advisor for Worthington Enterprises, but I expect you to meet with me every Friday afternoon to go over the books if I find anything irregular.
You won't. It'll be like textbook examples.
Fine. Does that mean you still have your job?
Yes, dear.
Oh, good. Walmart is having a fall blowout sale tomorrow. I'll be there when the doors open.
Whatever you say, honey.
Deborah, if you're going to be managing the company, you're going to be a good lawyer.
Don't worry, Lauren. I'm sure between us, Mom and I will be able to find one. And we'll make sure it's a lawyer who won't betray her client's confidence.
You mean I'm fired?
Like a gas grill on the 4th of July, baby. And Lauren, you can tell that writer fella, Jameson, that he's wasting his time if he intends to finish that book. If there's going to be a biography written about Edward, I'm the one who should write it. I think it's safe to say that a biography written by his first wife, who was there when he was murdered, will knock any other writer's version right off the bookstore shelves.
Mom, are you really?
I am, if you'll help. Your father was a tyrant, but he was my tyrant, and I'll tell it like it is. And I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I can find a few good things to say about him. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. He did pay you alimony when he didn't have to, and he provided for me and Aunt Bee.
If you need somebody to take shorthand and type it up, I'm a darn good secretary.
Mom.
Why not? You are taking Edward away from Allegra, not me. You gave her a taste of her own medicine. I guess I owe you something for that.
You can stay on board, Peggy Sue.
Thanks a whole bunch! To tell the truth, I'm glad I'm going to be working for women for a change. Maybe not the bruises, where I keep getting pinched to clear up.
Well, I guess that covers everyone, except me. Where do I stand?
Out in the cold, Tony. The girls summed you up perfectly. You're a terrible man. If I see you around here after tonight, I'll sick the dogs on you.
You don't own any dogs.
I'll buy some. Lieutenant McMillan's men should be arriving soon. Allegra's going to be behind bars for a long,
long time. She has one thing going for her, though.
What's that, Mom?
She's always looked great in stripes.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a murder played out for your enjoyment and edification. Speaking for the playwright, I am his alter ego, as you recall. We hope you all had a good time. We all did. Good night.